Hello everyone and welcome back to a Gran Turismo time trial guide. Now apologies, this is slightly later than normal. I've had meetings and absolute tons of work to do at work today. Of course, the patch video as well. Now we're at Red Bull Ring, as you can see right there. We're in the brand new Mitsubishi Lancer Evo IX there that you can see in the background. We're on sports hard tires. I'd say it's an average difficulty. It's a bit annoying to be honest, which we'll get into in detail. And the gold estimate around the 147.7 mark. Now, Red Bull Ring has some quite common brake markers, but if you do enjoy this video, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. Without further ado though, let's jump straight into this lap, and remember you can follow my ghost because it's uploaded on the leaderboard. Right, heading towards turn number 1 then. What we're looking for is actually on the right hand side. So I'm looking for that white mark. It's just before the 100 board that I've also highlighted as well. You can use that if you prefer, but I love using that white mark. It's bang on this point. You can see I've just started going on the brakes right now. In terms of chase cam, you can see that right here. You might actually want to use a Marshall instead on the left-hand side if you really want to. But as you come into here, I engine brake to third, and then I go back up to fourth before I start turning. I felt that stabilized the car enough to make the corner. Now, I say this is annoying is because of this corner here, the exit, because it invalidates so many laps. You can see I'm just on the curb there. The red and white curbing is the track limit. If you go over that, you'll invalidate the lap, and then you have to start again. I started again quite a few times, I will be honest with you. But we continue on now towards the next corner. Do rev this car to the absolute limit, okay? It's 7,500 RPM is the limit here as we go onto the brakes. Now, I'm using the Marshalls on the right-hand side, or the Marshall cage on the right-hand side. As that gets near the edge of my screen, I hit the brakes. You can see I've just started hitting the brakes. I'm actually using all the circuit again like I did at turn 1, okay? So I'm going towards the left-hand side. You don't have to do this. I'm just trying to maximize my time where possible as I go with the engine braking a little bit here. Again, short shifting to third before I get to the apex of the corner and then accelerating now. That turbo really does pull the car along. So you do want to get the first gear change done so there's no delay in the gear change, which you can see as I change gear now. There is a delay there. So you want to be in the next gear up on acceleration and it'll just save you a little bit of time. Now on the left-hand side, as we come down here, we've got these little pebble bits on the left-hand side on the hill. Now, we've just gone past the 100 board, I think it is. No, the 150 board, sorry. And then we've got these two here. You just see the 150 board at the top. So I go for the second one after the 150 board, okay? That's what I'm using to brake here as I go down to third gear. Stay in third gear for this one. You can drop to second. It can be a little bit quicker. It can also really let your lap down as well if it starts to lock the wheels. Continue on through, and we're going to head over towards the right-hand side. We're going to get the 100 board now. We're going to be looking towards the 50 board and the 50 line. Now, I'm braking before that. You can see I've started braking right here, and the car's going to want to oversteer if you try and abuse track limits a little bit. So you notice I'm more towards the right-hand side. Just be careful with the oversteer here. You want to kind of keep the car nice and settled as you go into this corner and keep it nice and tight as well as you go through here. As I start to accelerate, notice I went off the throttle a little bit, lifting off, so full off, full off. It's only down to 75%. That might help with the understeer. Just keep that in mind as you accelerate. Into this next left-hander, as the short circuit meets the full circuit, that is my brake marker. You can see I'm just about braking right here, and you can see very nicely on chase cam exactly where it is as well. Similar situation here. Stay in fourth gear for this one. Just balance the car as best as you can. Do some of those slight lifts. It will help. It just spills the turbo up a little bit for you as well. So it is a bit beneficial. And then you can continue on through the corner absolutely fine. We're going to head to the penultimate corner then as we go up here. Once again, abusing track limits there. Trying to maximize the width of the circuit. And we're braking just before the Marshall box on the left-hand side. Or should I say Marshall cage. You can see that on the left-hand side right there. So I'm looking to brake here. You can get a bit closer to it and brake, and then it'll oversteer a bit more into the corner. You're trying to make sure you hit the inside as much as you can here. Make sure you hit that inside curb, okay? If you start to understeer off, you're going to struggle. If you use all track limits again, staying on that red and white curbing, and as that Austrian flag, the edge of it starts to head towards the end of your screen, that's when you're going to brake. You notice I'm braking slightly early here. It's actually beneficial to brake slightly earlier for this corner because you can cut a lot of the inside, really abusing where that sausage is, and it'll actually help the car get around a little bit with the all-wheel drive system. Notice I try and do that there as I continue on through. Making sure you stay on the red and white curbing, I'm going to head towards the line then. That doesn't invalidate the lap, and that is going to be a 145.2. I could definitely see a 144 there, and I will talk about that gear change in a second, but we're going to go on a fast lap now, so we're looking for that white marker on the barrier on the right hand side as we go into here, making sure we're in fourth as we hit the apex to accelerate through the corner. So we're in that higher gear, and then we don't have that gear change delay. Revving the car to 7,500 revs, and now we change gear on 7,500 revs. Really maximizes the pace of this car as we go up here. You don't have to abuse track limits, but I'm going to head over towards the left-hand side. And as that Marshall cage hits my right-hand side of my screen, I go on the brakes. I'll drop to second gear. You can stay in third gear and do this. You may just have to brake a tiny bit earlier. We accelerate through the corner then and continue on out here. Just breathing and once again looking for that 7,500 RPM gear change as we go towards this right-hander. I'm going to try and abuse a bit of track limits here again by going towards the left-hand side. The second one after the 150 board of the pebbles is what I use as a brake mark. I'm staying in third gear for this time. Sometimes I went to second. As I say, it can be beneficial, but if you're just after a safe lap, third gear is going to be far, far better for you. Heading up here then, we're going to look for that 50-watt board, and we're just going to brake just before it. We're going to try and keep the car as stable as I can. Notice there, I'm not going 100% on the brakes as the car starts to oversteer, because I'm just trying to settle the car and not really cause more issues with that weight transfer. Once again, staying settled for this corner. I do try and remain around 70 miles an hour on this corner. That is sort of a goal to do if you do want to do that as we continue on now towards the final two corners. And these final two corners, it is better to really abuse track limits on this corner in particular because it's very easy to do. Just before the marshal cages when we brake. Again, trying to balance the car. Trying to maintain 80 miles an hour if we can through there. Final corner then at the end of the Austrian flag. We come into here. We can cut that quite a lot. Do keep that in mind as we head towards the line. Now, don't change gear as you get towards the line. Remember, there's a gear change delay. So if you're right on the border of gold, it's better to stay in fourth gear and cross the line if you are up on your time. Let's go into a chase cam lap then. That white box on the right hand side there is where we brake just before the 100 board. Coming into here, making sure we're in fourth gear as we leave on the exit. Look how close we are there to track limits. This is why it gets frustrating this lap, because you are so close to the edge of track limits, especially if you are after that gold time. I was after getting in the top 10, so you have a ghost to follow as well. Going to head up towards the right-hander then here. Once again, abusing on the left-hand side, the marshal cage on the right side. As it hits the edge of your screen, you can hit the brakes. I short shift to third gear here. Again, it's just to make sure I don't have that gear delay change on exit. Remember, 7,500 revs is where you change gear. Now, you can't see it on chase cam, so you're looking for speed. So 109 miles an hour is where you want to change from fourth to fifth gear. Just keep an eye out on that. So we're going to go down here. The second pebble thing on the hill there on the left-hand side after the 150 board is what I use. Staying in third gear for this one. I started to accelerate quite early on this corner as well. Something to keep in mind. It doesn't understeer as much as you think, so you can be aggressive on throttle on that particular corner. Coming into here, it's all about bouncing the car now as we go into this left-hander. Notice there, I'm just making sure the car stays stable before I start accelerating. With the tip I mentioned during the start-stop lap, you can go on and off the throttle slightly and it will benefit you a little bit, okay? Because it spools up the turbo, but you lift off a little bit to stop the understeer, but then you still got the power that's already been introduced because of that turbo spool. It's a nice little trick that you've got there. Looking for that marshal cage on the left-hand side then. I'm going to go hard on the brakes to go into this right-hander. Staying in fourth gear. Fourth gear is a really nice gear in this car, to be honest. And you can short shift this car a lot as we go into the final corner. I'm going to accelerate towards the line. Remember, do not change gear if you're really on the borderline. It will help your lap time because you're not going to have that gear delay as you get to the line. That is a 1:45.204 here at Red Bull Ring in the brand new Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 9. I'm really glad they did this time trial with this car. I feel time trials should be with the new cars and road cars and cars we don't normally use to allow us to experience these cars on the tracks that are in Gran Turismo. As always, folks, if you did like this video, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the support. We are on that journey to 50k. Unfortunately, folks, that is it for this guide and this video. There is another guide there for you if you are struggling on the Ford Roadster time trial at Grand Valley South Reverse, or there's an alternative video there to check out. My logo's there to subscribe, and once again, a big thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.